got a couple of requests for AE lock and spot metering on our K5. Over here, that's evaluative, that's center weighted, and that's spot metering. So we can put it into spot metering with this lever on the K5. And AE lock is the AE lock button right there. Push that button and recompose. All right, let's talk about the different metering choices. So your camera views your scene like that, all right? And evaluative metering divides the scene up roughly into sections. Okay, so however many, I mean, some Nikons do 2,000 sections. Canon has 70 or 80 point sections. The K5 has, I don't know, 50, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. They all work the same. What the computer does is it takes a meter reading for each section, okay? And it takes a meter reading for each section, and then the computer matches it up against a database stored in the computer of hundreds of thousands of scenes, believe it or not, and the evaluative chooses the, based upon an algorithm, chooses the correct metering. Okay. So, in theory, I mean, as I understand it, that's how evaluative metering works. So, evaluative metering will give you, let's say evaluative metering gives you F8 at a 60th. Okay. So for this particular scene, whatever it is. All right, so now, center weighted metering is the old-fashioned metering. Okay. And what center weighted does is it's really a two-zone metering system. So center weighted, you know, and the ratios of the metering is different. But let's say it's about 65%, 35%. And what that means is the metering is going to be biased 65% towards what's in the center and what's on the outside. So what's in the center section, center weighted, right, is going to be more important than the peripheral. All right, and so that's how center weighted works. Okay, so if you have a very bright or dark subject in the center, it's going to throw off the metering. All right, and then spot metering, very straightforward. There's going to be a little section in the center, and that's what it's going to meter. Now remember, our meter is always going to try to give us 18% gray. So if we're metering this white board, and we get F8 at a 60th, okay, it's going to be 3 stops over. Okay, no, the metering is going to be 3 stops under. I'm sorry. It's going to be 3 stops under, because it's going to turn this white board gray. And in order, so if let's say we spot meter this white board and it gives us F8 at a 60th, okay, we're going to have to open up 5, 6, 4, 2.8. Okay, we're going to have to shoot at 2/8 at a 60th to make sure this is a white board, because the meter is always going to try to give us in the middle, 18% gray. All right, but so a spot meter, what that allows you to do, it's a little time consuming, but what it allows you to do is take different spot meter readings in your scene and then in your head do your own evaluative metering. Okay, it also allows you to do the zone system, where we know this is a white board, so we get F8 at a 60th, and then we drop it down 3 stops and we know we get it white. You know what? Try it. Take something that you know is white, meter it, take a picture, and tell me it doesn't turn out 18% gray with the spot meter. And then open up 3 stops and tell me it's not white. Okay? And you'll get a good understanding. And you know what? You can make the white board black by going 3 stops the other direction. F11, F16, F22. If you shoot if this meter is F8 at a 60th, then you shoot F22 at a 1/60th, you're going to have a black board. Okay, now you have control over what you're doing. All right? So, the spot meter works really well in conjunction with the AE lock. And how's that? Okay, we're taking a photograph of a scene, right? And we want to see Okay, and we know that grass tends to reflect 18% gray. So let's spot meter for the grass, which is 18% gray. We don't have to adjust anything. Hit the AE lock, recompose your scene, right? And you've locked in the meter reading for the grass. So experiment. The AE lock does exactly what it does. Automatic exposure lock. Okay. So in manual, AE lock doesn't work, right? So what I'm saying is we're shooting in let's say aperture priority. Okay. So we reach down with our spot meter and we hit the grass, we hit AE lock, then bring it back up and recompose. And we have the metering for the grass locked in, and that's going to be the metering for our overall scene. Does that make sense? Okay. So what I'm saying is in aperture priority, okay, in aperture priority, spot metering, I got the lens cap on, okay, our white board in this lighting, spot metered, it won't focus, there it goes, okay, is giving me 40th of a second at f11. Okay, out the window we're getting a 13th of a second, right? So we hit AE lock, lock that in, and that window is locked in. See the star? That means the AE lock button's on. We could toggle it. Alright, so we want to use this meter reading. So we'll toggle that meter reading. We can aim it out the window and we're getting 1/40th of a second. So AE lock allows you to pick what you're metering in automatic exposure mode, like aperture priority. So that's how it works. The spot meter and AE lock work together in an automatic exposure mode. Doesn't work in manual because you don't have to lock anything in. Everything in manual is locked, if that makes sense. Alright, that's Ed with Photo Universe. Hope that made it a little clearer. Maybe just made it more confusing. I don't know. Well, put comments in the thing and I'll address them if I need to. So I appreciate it. Alright, have a good one. Bye.